You good to go, Joe?
Hey, oh, okay, I'm on. All right, so there we were standing right there. When I heard somebody yell my name, I told Alfred, man, I looked at him and asked him, are you ready? He said, yeah. So there was a little kid standing by. We took off our sarapes and handed them to the little kid. And as we turned around, there's about 12 dudes right there, lined up. And I kind of walked away, separated myself from Alfred because this was my problem. I had a problem with this dude, that owed me money, didn't want to pay me, and then he's now threatening to kill me. So I try to keep Alfred out of the whole mess. But what happened was when I kind of walked away from Alfred a few feet, I got surrounded by, I had 5 dudes lined up in front of me. He had 7 in front of him, and what happened was I was trying to talk my way out of the situation, by the dude's name's Memo that I had a problem with. And so I tell Memo, I said, check this out, this is between me and you, let's take a walk. This has nothing to do with all these guys right here. And when I was saying that, somebody that's standing in front of Alfred said, you know what, just get him. And so it was my mistake, man. I turned for a split second to see who was running their mouth, and right at that moment, the punch just landed, man. This dude had a brass knuckle around his fist, and it, right before I realized it was coming, it already landed right above my eye and cut me open, And so the fight was on, man. So here I was fighting with 5 of these dudes, and
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
before I knew it, they started hitting me with pipes in the head and everything, and so that's when I pulled out my blade, and I just started slicing and dicing, So, here they are on me, and as I'm throwing punches, I have to put my arm up, my right arm, to block the pipes that are hitting me in the head. And I got dudes all on me, and then at one point, I didn't even realize I had stabbed these dudes. I was just swinging on them, like they were on me. I was just on them back. But at one point, somebody threw an uppercut and they connected me on my chin, and it kind of buckled my knees a little bit. My knees buckled. I stumbled back, and all I remember in my head was thinking, "Don't go to the ground, because once you go to the ground, you're not gonna get up, and they're gonna really hurt you." And that's the way I was taught. If you ever get jumped, be sure you don't go to the ground, because once you go down, that's it. It's over. And so here I am. They uppercutted me and buckled my knees. The knife fell out of my hand, and I stumbled back trying to catch my balance. And as I'm stumbling back, there's a old fence right there. Some fencing right there in front of one of the houses. And my back just hit the fence, and I remember being, got bounced off it. And the dude Memo's coming towards me, and I remember just throwing one punch at him, and I connected him pretty good, and that was it. I don't know what happened after that. I blacked out. When I came to, he and I were at the other end of the street. All the other dudes were off me, and it was just him and myself right there. We had each other by the shirt, and we were just exchanging punches. I'd hit him. We were so tired, my arm would drop. He'd hit me. We didn't even bother moving out of the way, trying to dodge the punches or nothing. But at one point, he let go of my shirt, and he touched his stomach, and he had all this blood on his shirt and his pants, and that's when he kind of grabbed me by the wrist to loosen my grip from around his shirt. And when he shook my hand, he kind of snapped me out of that little daze I was in, And so he tells me, hey, that's it. We'll finish this some other time. But so I let him go, and he ran off. When he ran off, I'm looking at myself, and my whole shirt soaked in blood too, And I'm looking down at myself, and I had no idea how I got from one end of the street to the other. So at the moment that my back hit the fence, and I bounced off, and I connected them once, I blacked out. I have no memory of what happened from that time till I ended up at the other street corner. And so as he runs off, I look down the street in the direction where Alfred's at. He's still getting jumped down there. So I get back in it. I run down there, to go jump in and back him up. By the time I get there, everybody had run off. And so, I pick him up, and the little kid is standing there with our sarapes. He hands us our sarapes right there, and I looked at Alfred. He's busted up pretty bad too. And I looked at him, and I told him, I said, I told you, man. I told you I didn't want to come this way. And he goes, yeah, I know. I should have listened. So I pick him up, and we're walking back to his house. He didn't even get to go use the phone. He had to go call his wife, who was over here in L.A. County, So we're walking back to his house, and probably 15 minutes later, we get there. And, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm examining all my wounds, and I'm all busted up. My arms all swollen. I got my elbows all cut up. My head's bleeding. My eyes bleeding. My lips busted, And at the time, I didn't even know I had a stab wound. They stabbed me in my upper back with a screwdriver. I hadn't even known till the next day that I was stabbed. But 15 minutes later, we get to his house. When I'm examining myself, I get a beer, and I open up a beer, and a truck pulls up. And so he turns off the light, and he looks out the window, and then he opens the door, and all I see is this dude coming towards us. And as he's coming towards us at the door, he pushes Alfred out of the way, and he reaches over and grabs me by the shirt. And right at that moment, there was a claw hammer right there on a bookshelf. I just grabbed the claw hammer and I swung it at this dude, trying to hit him on top of the head. But at that moment, he let go of my shirt, and he did this little karate move where he just, with his knee, knocked the hammer out of my hand. And right there, it was on, man. We just started fighting right there in the living room. And here we are, I mean, it was a judicial. It was a state police from Guadalajara right there. And here I am fighting with this dude. And we're duking it out, man. And he was trying to, really hurt me, man. And so, here I am thinking to myself, I already got jumped once. I'm not going to let these fools, bust me up even more. And, it happened regardless, but, I put up a good fight right there with this judicial right there. And as I'm fighting with him in the living room, another one comes and tries to grab me from behind in a chokehold. I slip out of his little hold. I spun around him, and I push him into his partner. And then from that point on, it became a wrestling match where they kept trying to kick my feet from under me. I get out of it, and I'd use their own weight against them, and then I'd put my weight against them, and then ease up on the way and throw them all off balance. And I was making them look stupid, I was making them look stupid. And then during that time, somebody just came from behind me and just hit me in the back of the head, and I seen a flash of light. Next thing you know, I'm on the floor, and they're on me, So yeah, you got the one that I initially started fighting with. He was sitting on my back. He had his knees on my back, trying to cuff me up. The second dude that tried getting me in a chokehold, he was sitting on my legs. And the third one that came from behind me that I didn't even see coming, he was right there, standing on he had his cowboy boots right there, stepping on my head. And so I'm on the floor and I'm still fighting. I'm mad. I'm mad. I already got jumped once, 15 minutes earlier, and here these fools are thinking they could just, come over here and manhandle me like this. Yeah, I didn't care who they were, But so after I'm still fighting on the floor, Alfred's sitting on the couch, and he finally telling me, "Hey, Jose, calm down, man. Relax already." And so I ease up, and I allow them to cuff me. And after they cuff me up, the one that's on my back and the one sitting on my legs, I could feel them shaking. They're nervous, because nobody ever fights with the judiciales over there. And they're shaking. I could feel them. And the one standing on my, with his cowboy boot on my head, he looks down at me and says, "Hey, man, what the hell's wrong with you, man?" He says, are you on drugs?" And I looked up at him. I says, "No." He says, "Are you drunk?" And I looked up at him and said, "Well, I was drunk. You would have taken me down a lot easier, He says, "Well, what the hell's wrong with you, man?" He goes, "What are you acting like an animal for?" I told him, "I'm not acting like an animal. I just don't like people putting hands on me." He goes, "Man," "well, something's wrong with you. You need to calm down, And so, they rested for a few minutes, and they picked me up by the handcuffs, stood me to my feet, and they picked Alfred up off the couch, and they uncuffed one hand. They cuffed my right hand to his left hand, and they escorted us outside. And so as they're escorting us outside, another pickup truck with judiciales drives up. And over there back then, I don't know what it's like now. It's been over 20-some years, since I've been out there. But they used to drive for a pickup truck. And so they take us out, and they tell us to put our hands on the gate of the pickup truck, of the bed of the pickup truck right there. And they had these little loops right there at the corners of the truck itself, and that's where they cuffed our other free hand. And then one dude, I'll never forget his face, man. I still remember his face today. But he came around, he came around and he put his 9mm, cocked it back, put the barrel to my head, and told me, "If you move, I'm gonna kill you." And so here I am, man, cuffed up, one hand to my buddy and the other one to the pickup truck. And the other 7 that were standing behind us just started beating the crap out of us, man. From our waist all the way down to our ankles, they were kicking us with their cowboy boots. And from our waist to our head, they were just nothing but punches, man, and blows, you know, and I mean, it went on for about 45 minutes, man. They were beating the crap out of us right there, you know, in front of all the neighbors and everybody. You know, it was kind of, you know, I'll admit it was humiliating, it was degrading, you know, and it was humbling at the same time. And you know, the dude with the 9 millimeter to my head, you know, he just, you know, I looked in his eyes. This dude, he was gonna kill me. And he even at one point he even uncuffed me and he told me that I was free to go. And that's when I realized, you know, these dudes, they're gonna kill me, you know. And so I looked at him, and you know, when I didn't take my hands off the gate of the pickup, of the bed of the pickup truck, and he tells me straight up, he says, "I want you to run." He says, "Because I'm gonna kill you. You take one step, I'm gonna kill you." And that's when I, you know, I whispered to Alfred. I says, "Hey man, these dudes ain't gonna stop, huh?" He goes, "Nope, until you confess." And that's when I, you know, it was kind of strange because at that time, you know, a lot of people say that, you know, that before you die, your life flashes before you. And you know, it was strange because, you know, I in my mind I thought they were gonna kill me, and I started, you know, having scenes from my childhood, my family, everybody, all these images of my loved ones were coming through my head, scenes from my childhood, and it was just strange, man, the way it happened, you know, and that at that moment, that's when I realized, you know, I gotta let them know that I'm a United States citizen. And so I told them in Spanish, you know, that I was a U.S. citizen, you know, I was born in California, and they were violating my international rights. And so when I said that, somebody just hit me with a good blow on the back of the head, man. And let me tell you, it was nothing nice. It was nothing nice, you know. And so I kept repeating that, and then another one came and he grabbed me by the hair and bashed my face into the gate. You know, he did that a couple of times. And finally, I started speaking to him in English, you know, and I just started telling him, you know, I'm a U.S. citizen. You know, I was born in California. You're violating my international rights. And after a few times of going back and forth, Spanish and English, you know, one of them finally stopped and says, "Hey, where do you know English so good? You know, how do you know English so good?" And I told him, "Because I'm a United States citizen. I was born and raised over there in California, and you're violating my international rights." And it was at that point they finally stopped beating the crap out of us, you know. And so, you know, they kind of looked at me. They all walked around, you know, to face me, and they said, "Hey, well, what are you doing over here?" You know. And so I told them, you know, that I was.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I had come to visit some relatives, and you know, I got 60 seconds left. It's gonna go by quick. I'll have to finish this story in a couple of days. Thanks for listening, and you guys all take care out there, and you know, remember our veterans, our military veterans, huh?
That's right, Joe.